Do you mind if we take a step back and go to the beginning of the NFL career? Third round pick, started in New England, which for me, when I learned from Bill O'Brien, who was New England trained in that offense, that was year 9 for me. It changed my career. So I always say for quarterbacks and centers, that 20-year period where Tom was there in New England, that was the best education you could get was to be thrown into that system and have to learn that. I'm curious about your NFL career, just as a player, looking back at why it didn't turn out the way you thought, and how that allowed you to become the coach that you are today.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Fitzy, because to say that when I went to New England, you've got the greatest head coach of all time, the greatest quarterback of all time, and those are the two leaders of the organization at that point in time and for a very long time there. But the level of football and just the things you learn on a minute-to-minute basis. I tell Coach Belichick this all the time. I still have notebooks because I said to myself, once I realized that I had been thrown into the deep end of the pool, and I would equate that analogy to thrown into the deep end of a shark-infested waters pool of somehow your biggest nightmare as a young player in the league is you don't know enough. And now you're going to a place where you're going to try to replicate and walk the walk and talk the talk of what's going on a minute-to-minute daily basis. I realized very quickly you better write everything down and you better be a sponge because very few people get afforded this kind of opportunity. And although it was intimidating and probably wasn't the most fertile, farming ground for me to become the best quarterback I could become, because I started out in an incredibly intense and kind of intimidating environment. But I couldn't be sitting here today talking to you guys without that being part of my football foundation, because what that forced me to do is go back to my hotel room every night during training camp or off-season program and study and learn why we called defenses this, and learned, why the quarterback had to control the mic point on every run play, why you had to be in total command of protections and not only understand the why behind your job, which coming into the league you thought was, okay, throw it to this guy when he's open, or maybe I'm attacking man coverage and I'm going to work this progression. No, this was, you can't even press go in that offense until the quarterback has completely aligned all 11 guys on the field every single snap from a standpoint of where are we going in the run game, where are our combinations going to, protection wise, where are my problems and how do I solve those problems? And if you don't do it, nobody will. And that's where watching Tom do that, really, almost to a form of artistry of how he was able to do that and manipulate kind of the use of the play clock and get answers to the test and all those things. It was intimidating, like I said, but it kind of created the foundation for every job I had from that point forward to this very day. And then to be around Coach Belichick and how he, just the way he did things. Him and I couldn't probably be more different from a personality standpoint, but at the same time, he's become a huge mentor of mine. And I can ask him those questions that I had back then many, many years ago, but ask him from a perspective now on how I coach my team better and how I become a better version of myself based upon not only the history of being around him, but the relationship that's formed since. So maybe not the best ideal location to try to have a 10, 15-year career in the NFL. And by the way, I wasn't, in my opinion, I wasn't good enough to do that. Not in the NFL in that day and age for sure. But it probably was the greatest thing that ever happened to me to inevitably lead me to the path I've been on. And I'm very thankful for it to this very day, because I feel like that foundation that was built has allowed me to very comfortably step into this role. Also being around some of the other coaches that I've been around and to have a mentor like Bill Belichick in the coaching space, but then a guy 6 months younger than me in Sean McVay be my other mentor. It's full circle. It's a full scale. And I'm super fortunate to have those guys.